Hello and much love to anyone that clicked on the video. For those that don't know me, my name is Lightning Hearts, and today we are finally doing a Ogre guide for Under Knife and Birth 2. I do have to apologize because my life has been getting taken over by Expedition 33. I love that game. I've been grinding it for mad long, and I was like, you know what? I did promise I was gonna make an Ogre guide, and I had to lock in and really explain what this character is made of, what he can do, and why you, the viewer, should overall just learn him and play him if you're just interested already, right? So for those that are unfamiliar how I like to structure my guide series in general, I like talking about the character's normals, their special, their VOPAL traits, as well as their force function. Leave y'all a couple of tips and tricks towards the end of the guide to where y'all can learn your respective characters a lot easier. And since Ogre is my main, I'm also going to be explaining his setups as well as situations that you have to be aware of if you want to play this character to the highest level. So if you appreciate this type of content for Uni 2, obviously show the kids some love down below. But that being said, let's finally talk about the King of Devil, which is none other than Ogre, in today's video. Let's get into it. Before I discuss Ogre's normals and specials, I want to give y'all a simple breakdown / overview on what the character is, what his strengths are, and unfortunately his weaknesses. So Lightning Hearts, what is Ogre, where is he good at, and where are his shortcomings? If you want to put this simply, Ogre reminds me a lot of two characters in different fighting games. One comes from Street Fighter 6, which is Bison, because Bison and Ogre damn near have the same fucking gimmick, which is a bomb placement on his opponents. I believe Bison, correct me if I'm wrong, if anybody plays SF6, I believe Bison gets a bomb after he does a certain special or a certain hit conversion. Ogre gets his on his command grab. And this is really good because Uni is very heavy in terms of the strike throw department. The fact that Ogre has this on a command grab that beats out turtles is strong as fuck in my opinion. But after you hit someone with his command grabs, 5 to 6 seconds, this little signia lights up red, and now your opponent explodes. Really good. And the second character that also comes to mind is Testament from Guilty Gear Strive, because Testament and Ogre both have to apply a certain level of conditioning in the neutral in order for the other specials to become scary. Ogre is relatively honest. His supers are kind of easy to counter, so he requires you to have simple mind games surrounding his simplistic specials, so you can make the most out of his, strike throw situation, aka the command grab. So that is basically what Ogre is. His positives, probably the most unique gimmick in the entire game, being the command grab. His 2-4 is good as well. You could kind of think of Ogre's 2-4 like Ogre's Divine Thrust. They both do the same thing, but Ogre gets a conversion naturally. Ogre, she has to spend resources to get a hit confirmed, so that's good. On paper, Ogre damn near has everything. He has a projectile, he has an invincible DP, he has Rekkas. What else does he have? He has kind of like a command throw. He has a 5.5A. Ogre has everything, so he should help you out with a lot of things that you're gonna face with in this game. So that's good. But now let's discuss his negatives. Like I mentioned, honest character in the game. I cannot stress that enough. Even though Ogre has a lot of things in this kit, they all have some relatively easy counterplay. His projectile is very situational depending on certain matchups. Use Rhea is an annoying matchup. Batista probably being his most annoying ass matchups. Sir Yugi, and the list goes on and on and on. It really takes a, I guess, smart player. Pull out my phone alarm. Ogre requires a lot more out the player than the character actually helping you out in a lot of situations, so he requires a lot more time in the lab, a lot more information on his matchups, and that simple mind game that you have to develop on your opponent to really have this character shine in terms of using him to his maximum maximum capacity. So let's just say this, you are going to be very intimate on your opponent, because there are a lot of things that Ogre unfortunately can't get away with. All right, but yeah, that's his overall weaknesses. He's just honest. His win condition is really good, but it's gets a lot harder depending on certain matchups. But he's not a bad character whatsoever. He just requires, like I mentioned, a lot more out the player. But now that I mentioned all that, we can finally discuss his normals. Okay, so this is going to be a very long segment as a little disclaimer, because what I like to do when I discuss characters normals is that I like to explain the properties and I guess the utility behind each individual button, so when a situation arises, y'all know what normal to rely on, right? So I like to kind of structure this category in chronological order. I talk about the characters A normal first, then their B, C, then their J buttons, and I leave their dash normals towards the end. Right, so to get started, let me put hide on all guard. All right, Ogre's A normals. Ogre has a 5-frame 5.8. For those that are not too, I guess, knowledgeable on Uni's frame data, a 5-frame is the fastest normal in the entire game. The only thing that's faster than a 5-frame is a grab, which is a 4-frame. So off rip, this is really good. So, and for those that don't know, if you pay attention to my hip inputs that are on the left hand side of my screen, if you hold back on whatever controller you're playing, I'm currently on a arcade stick. You can abuse the fuck out of your 5A normal multiple times. This is really good because it essentially layers your pressure, especially when you start approaching high level play. So you can probably do this on block about 4 times, 1, 2, 3, 4. And if you stagger it, probably about 3 times, 1, 2, 3. So really good. Talking about his 2A, his 2A is a 6-frame, being -2 on block, albeit is a lot like short, like slower, but is a lot more safer. 1-frame difference, not really a huge big gap in terms of it being unsafe or safe, so relatively same thing. Only difference is that 5A is way faster than this 2A, right? And you could probably stagger this on block about 3 to 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3 if you really delay it, right? So Ogre, great A buttons. Moving on to his B normals, he has 5B, 2B, and 6B. Let's get started with 5B first. 5B comes out at 8 frames, being -4 on block. For those, again, I just want to laser focus on the frame data. For those that don't know, anything that is not above a, let's say, 5-frame means that it's not punishable. This is -4, so if you want to end your block string off of 5B, you can. You can't get punished unless you decide to press another button after you end your pressure fully with 5B. That's when you're going to get punished, but if you don't, you are safe. It's only -4 on block, which is good. And since it's an 8-frame startup, it's also fast too. So a fast, safe on block normal, and another unique property behind 5B is the fact that it slightly moves Ogre forward. So you see, I'm whiffing this normal, but as I'm whiffing, you see Ogre takes this little micro step, and now I'm able to connect to high. So a fast ass, safe on block, forward movement 5B, really, really good. Now let's move on to Ogres, which actually before I forget this, 5B also has a decent cancel window as well, so you can kind of use this as stagger, create a little bit of a gap within your block string, so that's also nice. But moving on, let's discuss Ogre's 2B. Ogre's 2B is the same thing. It comes out at 8 frames, but if you pay attention to the frame data, it's -6. This means this is punishable if someone has a 5-frame 5A, or you don't normal cancel into anything, and if they probably shield this is probably a lot more negative, but I'm not gonna really go that much into detail, right? So same thing, comes at both 8 frames, -6 on block. This is punishable if you don't normal cancel into anything. And unlike Ogre's 5B, his 2B does not have any sort of forward movement. So you really have to be cautious of where you want to place this button, because I can't tell you how many times I got killed for simply whiffing this move or this button. So please, you have to be cautious when you want to use 2B, right? Now, let's talk about Ogre's mix-up option, which is his 6B, which is an overhead. This is the fastest overhead in the entire game, but is probably the most restrictive because you need certain conditions met before you're able to optimize the overhead to its maximum potential. So there's 3 scenarios to where, or well, technically 4 scenarios to where you can use Ogre's 6B. The first scenario is having VOPAL. You know you have VOPAL when your opponent's body is highlighted blue. As you can see, Ogre and High both have VOPAL right now. So if you 6B, it's negative 10 on block, and the worst thing about Ogre 6B is that you can't special cancel, you can't normal cancel anything. This is a highly committable, or you have to commit to this button, right? So best thing you can do is that once you obtain VOPAL and you 6B, you can chain shift to remain safe or to even get a conversion. So let's put high to crouching and vulnerable guard, your 6B. Now you're able to get a combo. Right? Really, really good. If you don't have VOPAL in this situation, if you manage to command grab someone prior to this interaction, you wait until it highlights red, it explodes, and now you're able to get a conversion, right? So 2 things you want to be extremely attentive about when you're attempting to use Ogre's overhead is the fact that, for 1, you need to have VOPAL. For 2, you need to have the bomb placed on your opponent prior to this interaction so you can get a, I guess, non-resource conversion. And 3, if your opponent managed to get, or you manage to get a counter hit on your opponent, that's when you're able to use his overhead option, right? You can link it into 5A if you get a counter hit, so that's good too. Getting a counter hit with overheads 6B is relatively situational, obviously. So just be mindful, if you manage to get a counter hit, just react with a 5A. Right? So really, really good. Only thing is, even though it is the fastest overhead in the entire game, it's also the one with the most restriction. You can't normal cancel, you can't special cancel, you can't combo on normal hit unless you have these resources backing you up. So please be careful when you want to use Ogre 6B. Moving on, let's talk about Ogre's 5C, 2C, 6C, as well as his 3C. His 3C is self-explanatory. This is just his entire option. But let's get started with Ogre's 5C. Ogre's 5C is really good. It has a disjointed hitbox. Its startup is 12 frame, being -8 on block. Obviously, I still have the laser focus on the frame data. If you don't normal cancel into anything, this is punishable, so please try to keep yourself safe and kind of rebeat if you're a new player. And the rebeat option is just you whiffing a 2A towards the end, so you're -2 rather than like being -8 or -10 depending on what normal you throw out, right? The best thing about Ogre's 5C is the fact that it can kind of interrupt jump in options or jump out options, kinda. Like, even though a hitbox is kind of disjointed, you can kind of, you see right here, it can't stop jumping options, but if you're too slow on it, it can fully jump out, so bear that in mind. Another great thing about Ogre's 5C is the fact that you can charge it to create a gap within your block string. So if you do something, let's say 5B, and you know your opponent wants to mash at you with a button, you can do 5C charge. See? And now I get a counter hit, and I'm able to get any sort of conversion if I optimize that situation correctly. So really, really good. And also, if you want to fish for a gap in your block string, you can also do 2A into 5C. So one more time, like so. Create a little gap within your block string, and now you're able to punish someone that's mashing in between. So really, really good. And in terms of the frame data and Ogre's 5C charge, this is -8. I think it's the same thing as Ogre's 5C. So in terms of the advantage on block, it doesn't really change. It's only creating a gap within your block string. And 5C charge in terms of combo, using our phone, there we go. In terms of combo conversions or properties, 5C charge fully knocks down your opponent. You can OTG and still continue your combo, so that's neat as well. Now moving on, let's discuss Ogre's 6C. Ogre 6C is your go-to whiff punching button. It's fast, coming out at 9 frames, 9 to 10 frames depending, and if you space this out correctly, you cannot get punished, right? So let's give Hyde his best button in my opinion, which is 6B. If you're like right around here, like I mentioned, you can't get punished, and if you space this normal out correctly, you can actually whiff punish him back. So you can loop this interaction if you're at the proper spacing. Obviously, if you're right here with 6C, you can get punished. So for my beginner players, spacing is the key when it comes to Ogre 6C. If you're right here, you can literally punish him back, right? And now get a conversion. And you can also normal or special cancel with 6C for those that probably didn't know, but yeah, you can also special cancel to kind of get in there if you feel like someone's gonna press. So 6C, go to whiff punishing normal, and another unique property is the fact that you can charge it. Let me put high to not hit me back with 6C charge. And in terms of the advantage on block, it doesn't change as well. They're both -11 uncharged version and the charged version, so same thing. But the unique property behind the charge version is the fact that it enables you to get a quarter carry combo route because it throws your opponent completely across the screen. So you can do stuff like this. Oh, hold on. The YouTube curse of trying to do combos, right? So it enables you a corner carry combo route, which is again good. And I don't know if this necessarily creates a gap. I didn't really lab that much, but I'm assuming it can. But lab it for yourselves if y'all want to get the answer. But you can charge it to kind of get a gap within your block string, but I don't know how big the gap is in my honest opinion. So moving on, let's talk about Ogre's 2C. Ogre's 2C is great. For one, you can kind of think of this as Yuzu 2C because they're both 2 hitting and they're relatively safe. This is -3, and you can link 2C back into each other. So you just do 2C, 2C, 2C. 2C has a good ass hitbox, and since it's -3, again, you don't even have to necessarily rebeat it. You can just do stuff like this, right? So you could just do 2C, 5C, 2C, 5C, or 5C, 2C. Really, really good fucking normal. And in terms of the combo properties, if you do the first hit of 2C, you get 6C. It doesn't waste a bound like you saw just now below. But if you let the second hit of 2C mac, then you can do charge 6C. So regular 2C first hit, you can get 6C on charge. But 2 hits off of 2C, you can then go for the charge version. So keep that in mind. You do combos like this. Now that I mentioned 2C, oh yeah, let me just show you the frame there if I haven't. It comes out at 12 frames. If y'all probably saw this already, but I have to just mention it because I want to tell y'all everything. Now I'm going to discuss 3C a little bit. 3C is self-explanatory. It's just your anti-air option, as you saw. And this is also good for combo conversions. So let's say you hit someone with a 2-1-4 in the neutral, you do 3C into this, right? And I also should mention this, most players like doing 5B into 5C charge. As you saw, it wasted a bound, but if you interrupt 5C quick, you don't waste that bound. So you can do 3C, 3C, 5C charge. Go on the other side over here. 3C, 5C charge, then 5A. And get more, and get way more damage than you just doing this, right? So just bear that in mind. So 3C, good for converging and combo routes, and it's just your go-to anti-air option. Now that I mentioned that, what other normals am I forget? Oh yeah, his J normals. Ogre's J normals are okay-ish, like it's alright, but I wouldn't say it's as strong as other characters. He has obviously JA, JB, JC, J2C, and JC charge. Let me talk about JA first. JA has 2 unique properties behind it that we're going to use in specific situations. The first situation that comes to mind is just you baiting out shields. For those that don't know, if you manage to land with any assault you are negative, this means that your opponent can punish you. So we like using JA in this situation to bait out shields. And once you react to them doing the shield animation, you good break them. This guarantees you the next VOPAL cycle. So now you're layering your pressure and you're keeping yourself safe if your opponent managed to take back his turn. So this is where we like to use JA, just in a shield situation, right? And another situation we can use JA for is that since it has such a low hitbox, if someone is pressuring you on their offense, you can get out by doing like JA on their wake up, right? So if they're standing up like so, moving back a little bit, you can do JA because it has a good lower hitbox. So this is like another, weirdly enough, defensive option. So if someone's pressuring you, you can do JA and get out, I guess, their offense that way. Now moving on, let's talk about JB, which I'm not gonna spend too long on. JB can cross up, but since this game has cross up attention, you only really use JB in terms of combo routes. So this is where I use it a lot. So I would do like so. So that's only really what JB is used for. It's for certain combo conversions. It does have a decent forward hitbox, so you can kind of jump late with this normal, but that's really all you use JB for, just certain combo routes. Now JC, however, is where you're gonna get a lot of interesting mind games. For one, JC regular, in terms of assault, obviously is plus, and if your opponent didn't block this correctly, this is how you get a conversion from assaults. So you see, you do a 5A link, you get a combo like this, right? But the best thing about Ogre's JC is the charge version, because the charge version is way more plus than the regular version, and on shield you are only -1. I'm gonna tell you why that is important, because you cannot get punished here. So let's say, for example, let me set high to ground throw. Where is it? Where is ground throw game? There we go. There's ground throw, right? Let's say in this scenario, I do assault C. You see, I get punished here. But if I do assault JC charge, and I understand that he shielded this assault normal properly, now I can tech it. And you see, I'm at advantage and I can punish him. So one more time. Okay, he shielded this. Now I can take back my turn, which is really good. Another great thing about JC charge is that it has a very good lower hitbox as well, so you can do stuff like this and link it into other things. And obviously, as you saw, you cannot get punished. The only way you can punish JC charge if you properly anti-air it. But since Ogre has interesting ways of playing around the assault mechanic, that is not I guess convenient or a common situation that you're gonna run into. So really good jump in normal, which is JC charge. I cannot stress that enough. So, but to really just highlight this, you cannot press a button afterwards. You have to realize that he punched you correctly with the shield, and once you have that interaction memorized, or just you have the proper muscle memory, you know that, okay, he shielded, now I can't get punished. And I guess the last normal I can talk about is Ogre J2C. J2C, I'm gonna be honest with y'all, is not good outside of combo conversions, because you can combo this on hits as well, but if they shield this, this is -10, well, -12 if they shield it, but I think regularly it's -8. Let me see, -8 to -7 really depends. Yeah, right here is -8. So this is like a really situational normal. You can't normal cancel, you can't change shift, you can't special cancel into anything. So J2C is not that good outside of combo conversions and just bringing out like a grab or a throw, right? So not really that good. Now the last two buttons that I want to talk about is dash C as well as dash B. Dash C has the same amount of range as this 214, as you saw, but this is an overhead being -6, and you can special cancel, go off the rip. This is fantastic. Dash B is a low. This is -4, which means you can't get punished, and you can also special cancel. So really good. If you want to kind of set up like something with Dash C and Dash B, you can do it after you hit someone with the command grab. Once they wake up, they're either overhead or they're eating a low time. So that's kind of where you will do Dash C and Dash B. And Dash C crushes lows, so bear that in mind. But yeah, I think that is all of Ogre's normals. I think I covered everything. Just to highlight or reiterate the normals that y'all should be using: 5B, fast as, safe fast, normal with forward movement; 2C, safe on block, and you can link it to 5A and Re-B, and you can string it back into each other. 6C is your go-to with punishing move. 6B is the fastest overhead in the game, but probably the most restrictive. You need 3 I guess unique situations to really maximize it to its utmost potential. JC Charge is your go-to jump in normal, and if they shield this properly, you're not going to get punished unless you decide to press another button on top of them shielding you. So yeah, and what else? And Ogre has one of the fastest 5As in the entire game. So off rip, his normals is great. But now that I mentioned all that, we can finally talk about his specials. I got a drink because I know my guy videos be long as hell. But yeah, Ogre specials. Ogre has about 5 to 6 specials if I remember correctly. I think 7 if you count his IWs. Let's count them down, right? His first one is his 214. This is a decent mid-range check in the neutral. He also has a projectile, which is J236. That is 2. He has his grounded 236, which helps him stay within the strike throw range, which is 3. He also has a special that where he can get, you know, his plus range, which is 2/2, B plus C, which is 4. He has an invincible DP, obviously his get off me tool, which is 5. And how can we forget and not mention his biggest gimmick, which is his command grab, which is 6. So he has 6 specials in total, and like I mentioned, his IW, which I believe is 7. I feel like every time I discuss Ogre specials, I feel like I missed something, but I realistically think that's everything. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, he has 7 supers. Okay. I am going to explain the mind games that y'all can do with each individual special, and obviously the frame data and properties on a lot of them. So when you do decide to play player matches, now you know what you can get away with. Now you can know how to take back your turn, and simple tricks that you can play on your opponent's Mata. Let's start off with 214. 214 is where you're going to develop these simple mind games on your opponent. 214A is regular punch, is only -4 on block. This is good because if you feel like an opponent's gonna press a button on you, you can obviously backdash and loop this situation 24/7. And since it has a good amount of pushback, you can do stuff like this, right? So 214A, great. Now 214A has follow-ups. As 214, let me get him off of this real quick. Excuse me. He has 214A into B, which is a low, -2 on block. 214A into C, which is a overhead, -6 on block. And 214A into A follow-up, which is a flip, that side switch, being, this says -12, but I'm pretty sure this is like -11 if you don't delay it. So this has its own utility, which I'm going to mention a little bit later on. Let's start off with 214A into B. This is where you're going to develop your simple mind games of Ogre, because like his first punch, you can backdash, and you can also backdash with his 214A into B. Since this is only -2 on block, if you feel like someone's gonna press a button on you, you can either A, like I mentioned, backdash. You need A. Oh, hold on. Well, I gotta stagger. Yeah, I gotta delay this real quick. You can do this, right? you could backdash, or you could DP. One more time. You could DP to get him off you, or just hit him back, or just say, you know what, I'm gonna take this risk. I'm still gonna continue my pressure, right? So those are the three things you can do with Ogre's 214B. You can either one, backdash, and then loop this situation again, which is where you're gonna develop your simple mind games. Then you're gonna DP, or if you have meter, you can obviously do 2-2 B plus C to continue your pressure. See, and keep your offense going. Now, I feel like I'm forgetting something in terms of this. Now, this is where you're gonna develop another mind game, right? After your opponent realizes that you like backdashing a lot on this interaction, what is the appropriate answer that they're gonna do for you? They're gonna hit you with a dash normal. Now, this is good because now we can play around our frames. If we do this and they do a dash normal, we can check them with what? The fastest A normal in the game. Or not in the game, but you know, a 5A, a 5 frame 5A is the fastest normal. So you see, I'm breaking down the mind games. You want to keep doing this until you condition your opponent to literally hit you with a dash normal or dash 4 towards you. So now you're kind of just playing around that -2. You're making -2 seem more like a +2, right? So you see, he does dash C, and now I check him. And obviously, if you have VOPAL, you can just chain shift and just keep your turn going like so, right? Now let's talk about his overhead option. His overhead option crushes lows, which is decent. I mean, well, kind of depending on the character. I feel like it doesn't really crush his highs 2A like that. Let me put it on thing. So it realistically, high can't do this because online is laggy, but the trade-off is that you get a combo. It crushes lows a little bit depending on the matchup, but this is good because if you know someone's pressing a button, you can just throw out the overhead option rather than the low option. The only weaknesses that 214A follow-up has, or 214A Rekka has in general, is the fact that you cannot delay this special whatsoever, because the minute you start delaying this like so, you're gonna get hit airborne. If you do this, you can only really delay like I mentioned, his overhead option. You see, if you know someone's gonna hit you with a 2A, then that's where you can delay his overhead option. But a good option select for this is if your opponent does a standing A instead of a 2A. So my advice for you Ogre players is that you want to do these sequences fast. You're either not going for the follow-ups, you're staying around this range, or if you go for the follow-ups, you're going to do it quick. You're going to commit to it. Do not get into the idea that you can delay these Rekkas, because if someone knows the matchup, they can just hit you or check you with a 5A and basically get you with a combo. So don't try to delay it. Just go straight into it. And if you have proper meter or 100% on meter backing you up, you can literally just use 2-2 B plus C. Right? And the A flip, let me discuss the flip now. The A flip is really situational. The most you will probably use this for is if you grab someone in the corner and you want to bait out a reversal option, but this is a really strict timing. I cannot stress that enough. Let me see if I can show y'all this. It's really strict, so I might flop on this a couple times. Let me see one more time. You see, I got it there. You can do the A flip on grab, especially in the corner. If you feel like your opponent's gonna hit you with a DP, you can flip out of it and then punish them. But like I mentioned, you really have to lab this up, especially with other characters, because the timing is kind of strict. Another way you can use Ogre's A flip is in full screen, because since it has full invincibility, you can also jump over projectiles. You see? And I think you could also go into 214C, which is a full screen version of it. But yeah, you have to be careful, because if you don't time this correctly, you're obviously gonna get hit, and this could cost you the round. So you can use this sometimes, but another good alternative is obviously just creeping edge. But if you want to be a little fancy, you can do this as an option as well, right? But like I show y'all, it's really situational. Now, let me discuss 214B. Not this. Let me play Ogre. Okay. 214B has way more range than 214A, which is good. And on hits, you get a combo naturally. So unlike 214A, where you don't get like a full conversion, you have to go for a follow-up and then get a hit confirmed. 214B, you get it naturally. It throws your opponent airborne, and now you can go for a combo route like so. If y'all really like this route that I just showed y'all right now, don't worry, I'm gonna highlight this on one of the tips in the layer half of this guide. So you just want to see how to do this route, just skip towards tip 1. Now 214B, in terms of frame data, this is, let's say, -4, -5. It depends on how you space out this normal. You see it's -2 here, but this is good because if you space it out, you can still have the same mind games as you do with 214A follow-ups. You can still backdash, you can still DP. So don't think since your opponent managed to guard your 214B that you can't do anything. You can backdash, you can obviously DP, and you can also special, is it 22B plus C to keep your turn going. You can do a lot of interactions, man. It's not just I punch you and then I end my turn. It's I punch you, now you gotta read if I backdash, if I check you with a 5A, or if I DP. There's a lot of mind games that you can play around with Ogre's 214. And that's really it. I feel like 214B can also create a slight gap within your block string as well, but again, it's situational. Now let's move on to Ogre's 214C, which is a full screen record punch. Like you see in terms of frame data, same rule applies. I can backdash, I can DP. If I feel like an opponent is gonna check me on a normal or with a dash normal, I can check them with my 5A, right? But be careful, because if your opponent shields these, you are punishable. So you can only really do this if they don't shield your record punches in general. So that is the breakdown Ogre's 214. Now let's move on to Ogre's projectile, which is his J236. For those that don't know, especially if you're a new player in fighting game, when players say TK projectile, they basically saying it's the air super. I have a Razor Panthera Evo, and if anyone is familiar with Shaman King, this is his son Hana. And let me not get sidetracked. You want to learn how to instant air super Ogre, because this is where you're gonna find the most value in terms of his A version of his projectile, because he doesn't have that much landing recovery, and all of his projectiles is plus in the mid screen. This sets you up with your 214. So if you feel like someone's gonna zone back at you with their own projectiles or something in general, this is what you can do. Let me show y'all this. So I can do this. And you see, I checked them. So now I'm in the corner. And now he set it up on, and I can do a whole bunch of shit. This is the best value out of Ogre's projectile. It's the fact that once someone gets hit with it in mid screen, this is plus on block. I could do 214B if I feel like they're gonna zone back at me, or I could just run up 214 or 236, 236, 236. I could just do this and see how they're gonna interact. Because for those that didn't know, and I did mention this with my 214, the easiest counterplay towards 214 on B and A is back jump into J normal. So if your opponent knows that you want to do 214 round start, you can literally do stuff like this. You see, I'm punished. But if I start off like this, one more time, now I'm safe, right? So it's supposed to kind of punish jump backs, but now I see that he's looking out for my 214, so now I can move more appropriately within the situation. So please do J236 projectile on the neutral, so you can keep yourself a lot more safe, so you can set up your 214. Now let's talk about the B version. The B version, you can't TK it, because look what happens. Ogre flies directly up in the air. Let me get high off of this. Forgive me. Ogre jumps directly up in the air, and now he has a ton of landing recovery for me to get punished. You can actually get punished here for people that don't know. So you can do stuff like this. If you TK with the B version, and now you're getting counter hitted, right? the best way of using Ogre's B version of his projectile is that Fox Up likes calling it a sinker because he made a neutral guy on it. So I'm just going to piggyback off how he titled this. Please watch that guide video as well, because this is probably going to be more detailed than how I'm explaining it. So link might be in the description below. So if you want to do your sinker, the best thing you can do is literally do J236B or with a normal into this, or how I like to utilize it is I like playing around it with the assaults, right? So you can assault 236B and set up your 214. So this into this, or this into this. When it comes to the B version, the A version, you can TK it and basically just annoy the fuck out of your opponent from this range. Or if you want to get in closer, you go for this option, right? And the B version is way more plus than the A version in terms of you being neutral. It's way more advantageous. Now let's discuss the EX version. Oh, and I forgot to mention before I move on, you can actually get a combo with 214B if you do stuff like this. Let me see. So best thing about Ogre's 214B is the fact that if you manage to get a hit with this, right, you get a confirm. So again, plus on block super or projectile for mid range. If you manage to hit someone with this, you get a confirm. So really good. Now I can move on and discuss his 236 EX version. The EX version you can TK, and this is really fast, and it has that sort of same horizontal range as 236A. I did the B version, but it's basically the same thing. It's fast, it's way more plus than the B version, or depending on the range, and this destroys other projectiles that you see in the neutral. Go hide as zoning, and go. You can literally destroy it like this and get confirmed with 214C. Right? So really good. Now that I mentioned the projectiles, is there anything else that I'm forgetting? Oh yeah, his grounded 236, his Rekka punch. He has no reversal action. Okay. Ogre's, I'm just gonna call this super the barrage, right? The barrage is really unique. For one, this has the most value when you're able to get the bomb placed on your opponent, because when you do this with the bomb, it's plus on block. So let me show y'all this. You see, you do the Rekka punch, and as that happens, this is now +8. But the best thing about the barrage in general is that the first punch, which is grounded 236B, is only -2 on block. Now you ask, Lightning Hearts, what is the mind game with this? Again, you can either do 236B and then stagger the last hit because it has a good stagger window. You see, I can delay this a lot. So you feel like someone else is pressing a button, you can do this. Or you can do 236B, backdash into 214 on A. So again, it's almost the same mind game as 236 A into B. Or not 236, 214 A into B. And the only difference is that you're not good DP in this interaction because that's too much of a hard read. You would just do grounded 236B, backdash into 214 or 236B and delay the final hit. And obviously you can still special cancel into 22B plus C to continue your pressure for plus range, right? So really good. So I'd rather y'all go for the B version rather than the A version, because the A version is -4 on block. And also, before I forget, 236 or the barrage punches can be used as an anti-air option as well. So you see, High is assaulting at me, and I can kind of pick him up with like dash B or C, but that's only if I get a counter hit. So you can use this as a little anti-air option as well, but it does, I don't think it's the best in terms of combo damage at all. So obviously another good alternative is his 3C, but you can use this as an anti-air option if you react appropriately. Am I forgetting something? Oh yeah, his EX version is basically used just for more damage output. This is basically like an ender for your combo, so nothing too crazy. But in terms of the frame data, this is safe. So you see, this is only -5. If you feel like someone's gonna press a button back at you, you can sneak in a DP, like so. So just be careful with that. So you feel like someone is really like mash heavy and wants to take back their turn, this is a little trick that you can play on your opponent. Even though you're wasting 100 bars, if your opponent's like below 10%, this is a great way of closing out a round. Just like, you know, keeping their instincts to react to a punish sharp. And am I missing something? Oh yeah, in terms of the corner, you can also combo this as well. So let me do this. You do 2A link at the 6C and do a conversion like this, right? So yeah, you can also combo in the corner, and like I mentioned, you can do it mid screen as well. But I feel like you have to have it on counter hits. Let me see if you can. Maybe you can, maybe. Let me try the A version. I feel like you can do this, but I might be wrong. Alright, well, you can't get a normal after this, but you can probably EX cancel, do this, and then get a combo like so. Right? So that's another way you can converge off of your grounded 2-3-6. So just to reiterate, alright, y'all go for the B version because it's -2. You can stop here, backdash, and go for 2-1-4, or you can stagger this. And then if you have VOPAL, you can chain shift, or you can try to stagger, and if he doesn't press a button, you can do 2-2 B plus C to contain your pressure. Really, really good. And if you have the bomb prior to this interaction, this becomes minus to +8, right? This detonates the bomb, you get plus frames, and you can still do the same shit. So really good. Now, what else can I mention? I guess his DP. His BTV is self-explanatory. This is a get off me option, but I have to discuss his ADP because his ADP is really unique. For one, the final hit of Ogre's ADP is actually an overhead. For those that don't know, you see, if High doesn't like stand up to block that, that's actually an overhead, and obviously you can special cancel to get a combo with either 2-1-4C or 2-3-6 projectile and get confirmed like that. So high level players know that this is an overhead, so no one's realistically gonna get caught with this. But the best thing about it is that if they fully block this out, this is only -4 on block. So that means that if they want to punch you off of this, you can actually hit them with a real DP. So we're gonna be scrubby in this little scenario, right? But again, this is probably like a one-trick pony. If people realize this is safe and you use a actual DP, they're probably not gonna get hit with it again. But since you can special cancel into 2-3-6A, oh my god, what am I doing? There we go. Since you can special cancel to 2-3-6A, that's not necessarily a problem. So it's two mind games that you can play around this. You can either ADP and DP normally to catch them, right? Or you can just ADP and continue your pressure like this, right? And stay within strike throw range. So really, really good. The EX version of Ogre's DP just shoots them or just hits them a lot further, like so. So ADP has probably the most range out of all of them, but his EX DP is invincible and it occupies that space to where if you're not at the range to where your BDP is going to connect, you can just do his C DP instead. So yeah. And am I forgetting something? His 2-2 B plus C, self-explanatory. This is just where you're gonna get plus frames, but be careful. People can guard thrust this, but if you have VOPAL, you can obviously chain shift to punish it. So just so y'all know, you can chain shift when you do this special in case someone wants to guard thrust and take back their turn. So you should only really do this when you have VOPAL on your character, so you can punish that interaction. Really, really good. And this this special is so stupid because it actually goes all the way up. This is not you know, air unblockable, but you can get a conversion off of this. So if you're dealing with like a character like Sub, this is a good option to kind of punishing him. So really, this is great. But yeah, I think that is that all the specials? I discussed 2-1-4, grounded, his projectile, his command grab. I did not talk about his command grab. Ogre's command grab, like I mentioned, is probably the biggest gimmick out this character's arsenal. You would do this in terms of combo enders. Obviously, since it's a regular command grab, it beats out grabs in general and turtles. But I really want to highlight his B version of his command grab and his EX version, right? Let's talk about the B variation first. The B variation is not an actual command grab, but rather a command throw. Let me put high to, I think it's all guard. No, I have it on counter hit, that's why. Okay. And let me put it to tech, right? Let's put him to throw break. This is not a command grab, this is a command throw. And the main reason why this is a command throw is because once you're able to get the command grab on Ogre with the A version, you can go for the B version. And as you see, the Signia is still active. So this is something I don't see a lot of Ogre players do in general, is the fact that once you hit someone with your A command grab, you can literally kind of keep them guessing with the B version. And the main reason why we want to do this is because for those that just don't understand Uni's frame beta, if someone techs your grab, you are at -8. Your turn is completely fucking over. You cannot press a button afterwards. But since we have this bomb prior to this interaction and you go for the command throw, now you are still plus within this interaction. So this is what you need to start doing. And you only really do this to keep your opponent awake on this interaction, because even if they tech it, you don't lose anything. If anything, you benefit from it because you're going to be plus within this scenario. So start doing Ogre's B command grab. And his EX version. Let me get him off a throw break. His EX version, to put it simply, y'all, his EX version is where you're basically going to get his setup, right? This is like his setup option. It activates a lot faster than his other bombs, and I don't think you can destroy it once it goes into the red zone, right? So even if your opponent manages to hit you with any normal, I don't think the EX version goes away. They fully get hit with the bomb. So this is going to be on another segment of the guide. Fast forward if you just want to listen to what I have to say there. But this is where you're basically going to get Ogre's asinine setups to really just annoy the fuck out of your opponent. I will explain a little more in depth later on. That's basically what the EX version is. This is primarily where you're going to get Ogre's setup options from. So I discussed his 214, I discussed his 336, his command grab, his ADP. Am I missing something? I always feel like I'm missing something with Ogre. Oh yeah, he has his IW, self-explanatory. This is where you're just gonna cash out on matches. You can also like do this in the air too, since it has a upwards hitbox. Be careful, because if you're not familiar with the new bound system or the bound indicator that was below me, this signal right here, you are not able to get this IW off, so you have to be attentive to how many bounds you have in the combo. So pretty simple. This is just a special you're going to cash out on. It doesn't have any real unique properties. But yeah, I discussed all of Ogre's specials. Now I'm going to talk about the situation that you beginner Ogre players have to be aware of to really maximize this character. Okay. We just discussed his normals and his specials. Now it's time for y'all to understand the situations that you can put your opponent in once you hit him with a command grab. And in order for y'all to do that, you have to understand your recovery or your opponent's recovery options. This is something that I had to personally lab, and thank God that I did, because there were situations to where I was constantly getting mashed on, DP'd in my face. But after I lab these options, I fully understand what I have to do, and now I'm about to share it with you lovely people behind your monitors. So let's get started. Let's say, for example, right, you managed to hit someone within 214 like so, right? We're gonna put this on save state, and now we're gonna load the save state. This is the situation that you beginner players have to be aware of, how your opponent likes to recover. There are 3 recovery options, or probably more than that, in Under Knife and Birth, but I'm only really going to discuss 3, which is a vertical recovery, a ground, and a damn near ground recovery, and delay tech, right? I'm gonna highlight all the options that you can use to counteract these and things that are going to keep you safe, because the name of the game with Ogre is to have his bomb be as active as possible during a match. And you don't want people to hit you with a whole bunch of stupid shit, especially on his offense, because Ogre does not have the best of Oki. So let's discuss their vertical recovery first. If your opponent recovers vertically, you can hit them with a 5C charge, especially if they wake up mashing. So command grab, 5C charge, you get a counter hit, and now you get a conversion to do it again, right? If they wake up with a normal, you are at 5C range, which is good. Or you can do 5C into 2C, right? If they don't wake up with a DP or they don't decide to backdash, you can check them with a 5C or a meaty 5C into 5C into 2C, right? The safest option that basically covers all get up options is TK a projectile, right? Because if he wakes up here with a normal, I can TK and check him, right? If he wakes up with a DP, if it's a character with a vertical DP, I can literally see how he's gonna react and literally just ADP. You see, I'm out of range if it's a vertical DP, not horizontal, but there's counterplays to that, but that might be on a separate video because it's too much information. But TK projectile is good because if they vertical tech and you do this and they're gonna whiff their DP, and now you can punish them. If they back tech like so, let's put them onto back tech. If they back tech like so, they have to wake up with the projectile, and if they don't DP in this scenario, they're gonna get hit, or you're gonna at least have plus frames. All right. Forgive me if I'm stuttering a lot. I've been talking for a good minute, but yeah, the TK projectile is the safest option to check how your opponent likes to wake up. I cannot stress that enough, because you want the bomb to be as active as possible during a match. So now that the Signia detonates, it's a good way of you getting in so you can apply your pressure. So once you hit someone with the command grab, now you can TK, and obviously if he whiffs his DP, you can do dash B or dash C and get a conversion and basically loop him again. So that's another thing, right? Let me go back to low save state. Where is it? Okay, now in case your opponent doesn't DP and he just likes to wake up with a backwards tech, what's another option that you can use in terms of offensive, right? Again, you can do like dash C. Let me get hide off of DP. Hold on. There we go. If your opponent likes to back tech a lot, the best move you want to hit him with is either dash C or dash B, right? Because dash C is an overhead and dash B is a low. And even if they block this, the one super that I want y'all to start using a lot is his barrage punch. Because the barrage punch is a good way of layering that strike throw game. If you do something like, let's say, dash C into 214, you don't necessarily get anything, right? Your opponent still blocked and the bomb is still gonna detonate slow. But if you do dash C into barrage punch, you are literally -2 in front of your opponent with the bomb going off. And since the barrage punch activates the bomb on second hit, you go from -2 to +8. And since you're in a strike throw range, you can do stuff like this, right? So this is a good way of having those multiple interactions. This is what I used to do a lot. I used to do this into the Rekkas, but you shouldn't do that. You should always do, let's say, the barrage punch. You can also backdash and have a lot of mind games on top of you having plus frames to cover you. So that's why we like doing that in this situation. This is great in case someone likes to back tech after you hit them with a command grab. So please be aware of this situation. Now, mind you, again, if your opponent back techs and he likes a DP afterwards, again, just to reiterate, the safest option you can do is just throw out a projectile, he whiffs, and now you can do it. literally, right? So this is all just straightforward mind games. If you know he's gonna DP, then you can do it. If he does DP, you can do like 2-2-A and get a combo that way. All sorts of shit, right? So if they do a vertical tech, you go back. If they do a vertical tech, you can still do the same options, but I'd rather y'all just do TK projectile so you can remain safe. You box it. Now you're still in the range of your 5C or let's say your 6C, right? So really, really good. But the last thing I have to discuss is delayed teching, because this is something that fucks up Ogre a lot. Let me take a sip of my Minute Maid. Delayed tech is the biggest counter to Ogre, because this is where your opponent is going to throw off your timing a lot. Again, like I said, the safest option is the TK super, and you're still in the range of your 5C. So this is another safe option. But what if they delay tech and they DP? Right? They can still do like other interactions on top of a delay tech. So this is another great way of covering it. But this is where we're going to use our 2-2-B bomb detonator. If your opponent likes delay teching a lot, you can do 2-2-B, and they have to wake up with some plus frames punched in their face. So this is what I like doing. If they delay tech, okay, you have to wake up with plus frames, and now I'm able to get in, right? And even if they DP in this situation, since the bomb is still active, I'm pretty sure it's gonna hit them out the state, right? You see? So if your opponent likes to delay tech or backwards tech or vertical tech, these are great options of checking them after you hit someone with your command grab, whether it be at the end of your combos or after you just hit someone raw with your command grab. Please utilize this to their biggest like potential. So again, if someone likes delay teching, okay, you're not gonna get up, boom, right? And that's it. I think that is everything, but before I move on, there's a couple things I would like to explain first. Where is it? The bomb detonator. Let me just put Ogre onto thing. The bomb detonation is kind of, I don't want to say is like bad, but there's a lot more utility that goes into it. Like you can do this in terms of combo routes as well. You can do 2C into 6C, B detonation, and then go for routes like this. But I personally don't do it because the damage is not really that good, and the bomb detonation by itself is like, Ogre has a good amount of recovery in terms of the detonation, so it's not really that much usage to do this. In terms of combos, you like doing this in the neutral more because the bomb detonator is an air unblockable. So if you know someone likes to jump a lot after you hit them with your bomb, they cannot block this. This is great against matchups like Kaguya, Kaguya, Seth, Makava, Kuons, any character that likes to occupy the air. After you hit them with the command grab, this is where the detonation becomes your best friend. So if you're fighting Seth and he likes to fly around the screen, okay, you're not gonna stay grounded, boom, and now I get conversion. So that's really, really good. But yeah, these are the options that you have to be aware of in terms of your opponent's recovery. Hopefully this makes sense to a lot of y'all. If y'all still confused about anything, please write it down in the comment section below. I might explain it more in detail, but these are, again, the options that y'all have to be aware of. Now I mentioned all that, let's talk about the most fun part of this guide, which is Ogre's setups. Ogre's setups. Before I talk about Ogre setups, which is not hard to do whatsoever, they're relatively straightforward, but I need to explain the bounds because in the 1.21 update, they gave us an indicator of how many bounds we have in a combo. So let me just highlight this, put my mouse to my character. You see that diamond shape that's right underneath me? When that goes away, that just highlights how many bounds you have in the combo. So these are the normals that waste that bound. Record A into B wastes the bound, as you saw. 6C charge wastes the bound. 5C charge wastes the bound if your opponent is airborne. J2C wastes the bound. And am I forgetting something else? And 236. Let me get this off of character thing. Give me 1 second. There we go. And grounded 236 wastes the bounds, right? So any move that knocks your opponent down or sends them flying across the screen to where you have to follow up on wastes the bound. And this is important because if you start doing bound move after bound move, like this, right? Let me do it like this, just to highlight this. If you keep doing bound moves into bound moves like this, now you can't go for your command grab setup, right? So this is the easiest way to kind of set up with Ogre. It's not complicated whatsoever. Once you're in the corner with him, the best link that you want to do is 214B into EX command grab, right? Easiest fucking thing you can do if you are comfortable with the command grab notation. Like I mentioned, I don't know if y'all are beginners or high level players, so I'm assuming it's easy for y'all, but if it's not, go in the lab and practice it. But best link, 214B into EX command grab, 5C charge, you delay 2C into 6C, and then you end it with the A plus B ender. And the main reason we like to do it with the A plus B ender is because this gives us a safe jump. So just to highlight this, we will do this, 5C charge, delay 2C, 6C, it's a 5 or the A plus B ender. Now let me just show y'all this. We're gonna set our dummy to DP, and look what happens. Actually, let me put this on save state because I might do it. Actually, no. Do it like this. See, I'm gonna jump in the air, and now if he decides to DP, the bomb activates, and I can loop this situation again. Right? Which is fantastic. Now, if your opponent doesn't DP in this situation, this is a great way of setting up your overhead, because now you do stuff like this. Ding, dong, dong, ding. Now let's put our opponent to mash a button. We're going to meaty 5B in this scenario right now. And now that we know he's going to mash, more time. You see? Now I can do 6B and basically loop the situation one more time, right? So really good way of setting up your opponent. Like I mentioned, A plus B ender gives you a safe jump, and also if your opponent doesn't necessarily have the resources to DP or to get you or get them off of you, you can set up a overhead scenario or overhead mix-up. You can either do 6B, or if they feel like you're not going for the overhead, you can do 2C. So it's kind of like a 50-50 mix-up, right? Another thing you can do in terms of setting up someone is you can do this. Instead of going for 5C, 2C delay, you can do 5C charge into back jump 236B, because if y'all watch the whole entirety of this guide, or at least a special portion, y'all know that a special, or at least the B version of Ogre special, is really fucking plus. So you basically have a plus frame projectile incoming, and you still have the bomb detonation. So even if they delay tech or they wake up with a normal, again, the B projectile also grants you a conversion, right? But you can only do this setup if you didn't do like a J combo conversion prior to this interaction, right? So you would do something like this. All right, what's a good thing? Okay, you would do something like this, right? As long as you don't waste like a jump interaction or a jump conversion, you can do this setup, right? But if you do like an air-to-air combo prior to this, then the setup won't work. Now, this is the last setup that personally I like to do a little bit. You would do the same thing, like so. J2C into flip. Oh, he's still on delay tech, and that's why it's not working. There we go. You would do stuff like this. Yeah. Oh my god. I'm fucking up for the guy, but it's usually like this. So yeah, same thing applies. You can literally do this setup and you still check people with buttons, right? So either way you want to do it, I like going for the A plus B ender because it gives me a setup, and still the same thing. I do the flip sometimes to kind of be fancy, and you would do the back jump projectile to kind of see if your opponent's gonna wake up with a DP, or just to have additional plus frames so you can keep your opponent guessing. So these are all of the setups that you can do with Ogre. You can also do, let's say, 5C charge afterwards. So you do stuff like this. Right, you would jump, 5C charge. If your opponent wakes up with a 5A and is not high. So you jump like this, and basically go for a combo like that, right? I fucked up, but you can still do the same shit. But yeah, that is all of Ogre's setups. Just to reiterate, the best thing you want to do is to have 100 meters. Please don't waste all your bounds within a single combo. This diamond shit, so you can get the EX version off. And obviously, you will end it with A, B plus C, so your bomb can activate and basically fuck up your opponent any way you deem necessary. But now that I mentioned that, I think now I'm going to talk about the tips that you can do for Ogres, and then I'm going to explain a little bit of his force function and VOPAL trait, because those are kind of simplistic. It's not going to take me too long to explain. So let me explain tip number one. Tip number one with you Ogre players is that once you land a successful 214B, I want y'all to use it as a mean of guaranteeing the corner. This is a combo that I love doing personally, so please, if you're watching this tip, steal the fuck out of this combo and claim it as your own, right? So this is a combo that I personally like doing. 214B into 2B into this route, you'll whiff 214A into the overhead follow-up. And the main reason I like doing this, because this fills in all of Ogre's win conditions. For one, you get the corner. For two, you get the setup. For three, you get some decent amount of Oki and that. And four, you have the bomb placed on your opponent so you can mix them up. And this is off of a mid-range check. So let me just highlight this. This is the combo that I like doing. 4. You see? That is off a 214, and this is going to get you into the corner anywhere you are in the screen. If you're like right here, you literally get the corner, and the combo does not change. It's the same thing, right? The only hard part about this combo is the 2A into 6C link, which is not that difficult, but if you want to change it up, you can. You don't only have to go for that combo. You can also do this as well. So let me show y'all. You can do this as well and then go for that, which is a lot more damage. And obviously, you get the corner, you get the bomb set up, so you can do that as well. You can also do this. Oh, I'm fucking up. Hold on. H. Oh yeah, but like I said, the hardest thing is the delay timing between 2A and 2 and 6B or 6C. Time. Oh yeah, you got delay 214A. So if you're going for this route specifically, you have to delay 214A into the overhead, because if you do it quick, it whiffs. But the easy version is this one. You would do 2A, 6C into 214B, and then you will go that. This is the easy variation if you know how to do the EX command graph. The hard one is this. H. This is the hard one. But you get about 4K combo damage, the corner, and the bomb setup. So this is tip number 1. Please steal this combo, maximize it, make it your own thing if y'all want. But this is something that I love doing, especially if you manage to hit someone with a successful 214B. And mind you, this is not even counter hit damage. This is just regular damage. You get about 4K off of a 214 with corner. So please steal this, claim it as your own. Don't say Lightning Heart showed me, say that I labbed this up specifically and I'm an Ogre god. So yeah, that's tip number 1. Tip number 2 with Ogre is that you should be TKing projectile more than doing 214, because 214 has a really easy counterplay. The easiest thing to option select Ogre with is just a back jump, because if someone does this and you do 214A, let me show y'all this, you can get punished, you're out of range. So this is the easiest counterplay you can do for Ogre players. So the thing that y'all should do a lot in neutral, depending on the matchup, is just run up TKing. There's nothing stopping you from doing this all the time. If you really want to be different with it, you can do assault 236 B. You do this, A projectile. You want to use your projectiles way more so you can set up your 214, because if y'all watch the entirety of this guide, you know that these projectiles are plus on block and it checks your opponent from zoning back at you. And obviously, since 214 has an easy way of getting countered, you want to do this so you kind of gain that information how you can counter your opponent, if that makes sense. So in terms of Ogre's neutral game, you want to do this a little bit more than you doing 214. 214 is also a good way of whiff punishing as well, but like right around here, this is where you should use it. But if you're like right around this line below me, this is where you want to do his projectiles a lot more. So in terms of his neutral, tip number 2, just set up your 214 a lot better with his projectiles before y'all go willy-nilly stupid with his shit, if that makes sense. So that's tip number 2. The third tip for you Ogre players is that you have to be able to react to like flash or green shield in general. This is a high level thing to do, so it's kind of intimidating for people that are not too comfortable with Under Knife and Birth yet. But if you're dealing with someone that shields Ogre excessively, this is something I don't see a lot of players do, is not using his B command grab, because the B version, unlike his A, actually flings him forward. You see? His A version, he stays in place. The B version flings him forward. So if you're able to react to green shields, you can literally do stuff like this. And you pay attention to the little circle in the middle, his side or hide side, he's grid broken. I am almost guaranteed the VOPAL in the next cycle. So you have to realize when your opponent wants to shield you out, because it is easy to shield out Ogre, but since he has a way of kind of punishing this, like once I see someone excessively shielding me, I'm like, okay, now I can do this. 1, 2. Your grid broken, and if you're aware of the setups and the opponent's tech options, now you can put it into pretty fucked up situations. So that's tip number 3, is that you have to be attentive with how your opponent likes shielding out Ogre, because this can help you, especially in the long run. But yeah, that's tip number 3. Now let me discuss his VOPAL trait as well as his force function, even though that's probably going to be the smallest portion in this guide video because it's kind of simplistic. Ogre's force function is this projectile right here, and once he gets VOPAL, it basically decreases his recovery. The main reason I'm putting this towards the end of the guide, because again, is not really that hard to explain, and for one, is extremely situational. This projectile is called Beat to the Punch. Let me just highlight this on the command list. Go all the way down. Where is it? This is what it's called, Beat to the Punch. And the best thing about Ogre's force function is that he gets a confirmed fully mid-screen. So if you have VOPAL and you change it properly, you can do 214C and get a combo like this. One more time. Change it, 214C. And what is it? It's 5C charge. You do this. Right? And now you have the corner. And this is basically from being right here. So you can do this again, right? But be careful, because depending on how you're spaced out with this, or when you decide to get the confirm, if you do this, hide remains grounded, but if you're full screen, hide is airborne, right? So you have to pay attention how FF into 214C kind of throws your opponent. He's either grounded or airborne. The airborne is kind of hard to confirm, but the grounded version is an easy hit, like an easy way to get a conversion. So yeah. That is Ogre's force functions overall VOPAL trait. He does have the air version, but the air version is completely ass, so I'm not gonna explain it. There's no way in hell you're gonna use this in combos or even like a ground throw or a throw bait. This shit is garbage, so I'm not gonna even waste my time mentioning it. But yeah, force function, this shit. If you have VOPAL, you can link it into 214C. If you have VOPAL in general, it decreases the recovery. So only use this when you want to beat someone with attempting them throwing a projectile at you, or if you have meter or whatever the case may be. That is Ogre's force function and his VOPAL trait. And that, ladies and gentlemen, concludes this guide for none other than Ogre and Unalive in Birth 2. I do have to apologize that I'm late making this because my life has been dedicated to Expedition 33. I've been playing that game for a hot minute and many other games, so I had to lock in and really just highlight a lot of things that I learned with this character. And plus, I was playing ranked matches, so I didn't really feel comfortable making this guide unless I was like a S1 plus, in my honest opinion. I want to make sure that everything I learned with this character I was able to convey to y'all, so forgive me for being late to the party. But hopefully this guide was informative for y'all, and now you have the necessary means of getting Ogre to the high ranks if y'all want to play ranked battle on an F birth. But yeah, my name is Lightning Hearts. I am a Unity content creator. I'm going to be making more guides for this game when I have the time, so stay tuned to those videos. And please be safe in the world, because it is crazy right now, so don't try to stress anybody out. You have no enemies, so please, a positive mindset is always a good one. So yeah, y'all take care, have a fantastic day, and overall fantastic week, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Take care, y'all.